Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we're back with, unfortunately, I know, again, another unscheduled, unregular video. For that, I apologize once again. I got plenty of videos coming up in the next couple days that are back to regular stuff, so I apologize if you're not into the Smash kind of videos and stuff and you're here for something else. I apologize. But we're talking about Smash again today because it seems like every day some new thing comes out that makes the situation between Nintendo and Smash even worse than it is. If you don't know, I will have some videos linked in the upper right corner here of mine that I've talked about this situation before. I've made 2 videos on it, so go back and watch those before you watch this if you're not up to date on the situation. But basically this all started because Nintendo sent a cease and desist to a tournament called the Big House, practically canceling the event because they used the system of Slippy, which is an online form of playing Melee. Well, a couple hours ago, about 12 hours ago on Twitter, a user by the name of Anonymous Smasher, which is a person in the scene who wanted to remain anonymous, that's why they posted it on this Twitter account, posted a twit-longer titled, "How Nintendo Has Hurt the Smash Community." And I'm not going to read exactly everything in this twit-longer. I will link it down below if you're interested to read the whole thing, but I will go through certain parts of this just to give you guys an idea of what's going on. So basically, through this whole beginning part here, the anonymous person describes their position in the scene and some of the information that they know from sources close to it, or big sources from the Smash scene, as well as sources from different companies involved with these events. So basically he goes on, or he or she goes on to talk about some of the things going on in the Smash community, being that there have been a lot of third-party entities that have tried to work with Smash and Nintendo to create tournament circuits and events and basically bring Smash Brothers esports to the forefront, just like all the rest of the esports of the world, like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Valorant, all that kinds of stuff. They were trying to do the same thing with Smash. And in this, he talks about some of those organizations being E-League, HTC, ESL, MLG, and the big ones, Red Bull and Twitch. Now, if we go through some of these, it kind of outlines just what the companies are and what they were trying to do. So E-League is the organization that has brought Counter-Strike, Street Fighter, and many other games to ESPN and television in general, and they were trying to obtain the rights to broadcast Smash events through their tournaments and stuff as well, and Nintendo denied that and only gave them the rights to restream the broadcast of the E3 Ultimate Invitational, which is basically just a consolation from Nintendo, who wasn't cooperating on allowing them to run a more meaningful Smash event. So basically, Nintendo blocks E-League from broadcasting Smash events. HTC had a tournament called the HTC Throwdown, which is just a one-day event ran by HTC Esports. They were interested in doing more because of the results of that. They wanted to run a Smash circuit. However, because an official Nintendo/Twitch circuit was just about to be finalized, in quotes, HTC was asked instead to sponsor that and not run their own circuit. Well, HTC said okay, and they were going to do that, but that Twitch Nintendo circuit never came to fruition, and we'll get more into the Twitch section of that down below, as I said earlier. But basically, HTC was kicked out of running their own tournaments because Nintendo wanted them to sponsor the Twitch/Nintendo tournament circuit, which never happened. So HTC has also been blocked from Nintendo on that front. Then there's ESL. ESL has made multiple attempts to work with Nintendo as well, but Nintendo was largely unresponsive, and basically they just didn't answer them. Instead of giving a yes or no, they tended to not talk to them, which they also note in here is interesting because ESL has run Splatoon events with Nintendo, which Nintendo has supported greatly by providing different setups and just a whole lot of resources so the Splatoon esports could take off. But it's ironic because they would not do the same with Smash. They just would not respond. She continues here onto the MLG tournaments, which if you were around back in the day, back in 2015, you will know MLG, the story behind it, how they were trying to push Smash esports to a bigger scene and were inevitably blocked by Nintendo in the same ways as always. But this one we kind of knew about, not really too much of a surprise. But basically this last sentence here is what I find interesting about this. The MLG area was a long time ago. The impact of those decisions hit the scene in the most point where it was starting to thrive, where we would have effectively shut us down had it it not been for our revival in 2013 due to the Evo/documentary, which is a very good point. If you weren't around in the scene, in 2013 there was basically a revival of Smash esports because of the documentary coming out, as well as the events that happened in 2013 surrounding Evo and the $100,000 charity event that the Smash community raised $100,000 for breast cancer research. And these things basically skyrocketed Smash esports back into the limelight, which, if it weren't for that, this events at MLG, where they were shut down in 2015 and were told not to broadcast Smash, basically would have put the nail in the coffin in the Smash esports scene and basically killed it, or at least close to that. But we'll continue on here. Red Bull was initially involved and were very interested in Smash. They held, again, a little Red Bull Proving Grounds tournament where they wanted to create more events after that, but were in talks with Twitch and Nintendo to start that event. Eventually, though, they were cut off from the conversations between Twitch and Nintendo and were instead basically told to, again, kind of sort of like HTC, more sponsor the event than be a direct involvement. But the big one here is Twitch. So Twitch, and I'm going to read this part, Twitch and a later removed Red Bull had been in negotiations with Nintendo to run a sanctioned circuit for Smash, including Smash 4 and Melee, starting around 2015. Twitch was fronting the costs of this deal and with a budget of millions in the millions per year, while Nintendo would own the League brand despite the lack of financial contribution. During this time, it seemed like Twitch was always close, only to have conversations left without a response from Nintendo for months, thus delaying the process. Eventually, around the early 2018, 3 years of man hours and effort put to appease Nintendo, the parties came to agreement. This wasn't just a verbal agreement. It wasn't just an agreement made in good faith. It was a written contractual agreement meant to kick off the circuit for both Melee and Smash 4. This would have been the moment that legitimized Melee and Smash 4 as major esports. For years, we had the viewership, engagement, and fan base to say that we were top esport, but we lacked the official sanctioning from our developer. Now, after years of manpower, money, stress in dealing with Nintendo, we had a written agreement to start a circuit. So what happened? Unbeknownst to anyone, Nintendo had plans to announce Smash Ultimate in 2018. Nintendo began ghosting those who were working at Twitch even after the agreement was made. Then, once Ultimate was announced, Nintendo came back to Twitch and effectively stated that the circuit no longer made sense with Ultimate in sight. They told Twitch they wanted to see how the community responded to Ultimate to see if getting involved in esports this way would make sense once the game was released. Twitch was effectively told they'd have to wait again, and the conversations may be revived later in the year when Ultimate came out. So another close call, another year of delay, and no guarantee they would make anything work once Ultimate was out. It's been a while since Ultimate's release, at this point almost 2 years, with no news in sight of a new circuit. As far as I've been made aware, those talks of a circuit are completely dead. So this has sparked a lot of things in the community. Again, another hashtag was trending on Twitter. This time it was Save Smash, because now it has been brought to everyone's attention that this is not just about Melee. Nintendo is not just trying to close down Melee tournaments because they use Slippy. They are actively going out of their way to harm not only the Melee, but every Smash esports scene. They are going out of their way to not make deals. In fact, like they said, we're ghosting Twitch after they basically plotted to never do the deal in the first place after having a written contractual agreement, because their reasoning was they didn't know if it would make sense with Ultimate. You know, the Smash game that was supposed to be bigger than all the other ones, with more characters, more hype, more announcements, more publicity, and ultimately a just bigger game. They didn't think that bigger game would be a good esport, you know, because that makes a whole lot of sense, right? So basically, this whole twit longer, and again, I implore you to go through and read the whole thing. I just read small sections and gave you a bit of paraphrasing for the purpose of the video. But basically, Nintendo is consistently going out of their way to harm the Smash esports scene. Now, some people on Twitter in general and just places I've seen have been saying things like, well, it's their right to do so. And yes, it ultimately is, right? At the end of the day, Nintendo has any rights to their IP that they want. If they don't want you to use it, they have the right to tell you you can't. But the issue lies in the fact, and that is actually stated here in this paragraph here. And I'm going to read it because I think it sums it up in a better way than I can. I think it's very clear that Nintendo benefits from the influencers that the esports community has created. Hell, Nintendo has even used these influencers in their invitationals at E3 to help promote the game. Look at it this way. Imagine a world where Smash esports wasn't a thing. Nintendo releases a direct. You probably have quite a few people watching from their computers in the privacy of their homes, and when it's done, they shut down their computers and move on with their day. We instead have all of these same people people replying to Esam's tweet, sharing Leffen's video, playing Hbrox's reaction on repeat. You get hundreds of millions of impressions from fans of these influencers, spreading news of the game everywhere. It doesn't take an advertising genius to understand the power of influencer marketing, and Nintendo is getting it not just for free, but while actively suppressing our scene from getting larger, and I think that's awful. Now, that last part is the writer's own opinion, and they're entitled to put that in there, but I just have to say that for video purposes. That is their opinion. But it's one I agree with. Nintendo is going out of their way to actively suppress the Smash esports scene from getting any larger, while yet not killing it, going out of their way to make sure it lives so they can gain every benefit from it. Now, I just finished watching a little bit ago Hbox's video on this. It's about 27 minutes long, so it's going to be longer than this one. But I also suggest that you go and watch that because he has a very good analogy basically summing up what this is for Nintendo. Basically, it's not about whether it's within their rights to do it. It is. But they're going out of their way to be a morally bad company by letting our scene live. Because at any point, if they don't want Smash to be an esport, they can say, no, we don't want that, and shut it all down. But instead, they don't do that. They go out of their way to keep the scene alive so they can reap all of the benefits from it without providing any support or any meaningful impact to that community. They're taking all the work that we do as a community and using it for their own selfish gain. That's basically what this all is all about. And, as a member of the Smash community, we kind of knew this was happening. We knew this has been going on for a long time. Yet, you want to believe that it's not as bad as it is. But this basically has confirmed everything that we know. Now, this person isn't a journalist. They didn't exactly take every step in the process of making sure every single thing that they heard was true. They're taking people at their value, at face value. But there have been other Twitlongers and people coming out and saying, no, as somebody who's in this community and has been a part of these deals, this is all true. So we know now that this is true. And the one that, for me, makes it the most impactful and hurtful is this paragraph here. Project M/P+. If you don't know, these were mods made to Brawl in order to make the game play a little bit faster, more like Smash Melee, so everybody can enjoy it when Brawl came out. If you were part of the community back in the day, you would have known it was the biggest entered tournament at one point in time. Project M was. More people entered Project M than Melee and Brawl in certain tournaments. So Project M was no small thing, but it was a mod for the game, just like how Slippy is, keep in mind. This part says, there was never a cease and desist to shut Project M down. What happened was Nintendo essentially stated people within our scene so that our community support of PM was preventing them from working with us. Basically, I'm not going to read the rest, but basically Nintendo was blackmailing tournament organizers and influencers into saying, well, we're not going to work with the Smash scene if you guys are using Project M because it's a mod and we don't like that. So naturally, those tournament organizers and influencers decided, let's not play with it anymore. If this means we can get Nintendo's backing, which is what we've always been lacking, let's go out of our way to try to get that. Yet, they'd never sent a cease and desist, so we had basically killed the Project M and P+ community ourselves, only for Nintendo later to still not support the scene. Essentially, Nintendo goes out of their way to harm the scene again so they can get rid of the thing that they don't like. Now, listen, I understand you may not be a fan of Melee, you may not be a member of the community, you may not give a shit, right? But you have to understand from our perspective, this is just not okay, right? At the end of the day, yes, it's Nintendo's intellectual property. If they don't want us to use it, that's fine. If they don't want to support the scene, honestly, that's fine too. We haven't asked that from them for a long time because we knew we weren't going to get it. But the fact of the matter is, it's not that they just won't support us. It's not that they don't want the scene to thrive. It's that they want it to thrive at their own level. They don't want it to get any bigger, yet they also don't want to kill it. It's incredibly morally wrong in my eyes. Maybe you don't see it the same way, but I don't think this is okay, and a lot of people don't either. That's why the hashtag #SaveSmash has been trending on Twitter, and people have been making lots of tweets about it and talking about it a lot. And I'm basically making this video to again ask, as I did in my first Melee video, for you guys to do the same thing. Help our community, help support us, right? This isn't about Melee anymore. This is about Smash as a whole. This is about people who've given their entire lives to a game only to be shot down by the same people who made it because they don't like them. They don't like us. That's it. At the end of the day, they don't like our scene, but they will love to use it to their advantage. And that's just wrong in a lot of our eyes. Now, what can you do to help us? Well, as I said in my previous video, you can go donate to Ludwig. All his donations for the month are going to a tournament, and it's already at this point in time the 5th largest Melee tournament tournament of all time for charity, and it's going to be using Slippy Online. So I ask that you go do that. That will be linked in the description as well. I ask that you go on Twitter and like and retweet all the Save Melee tweets and the hashtag, and help us out in that way, get us on trending, because the only way that we can fight Nintendo is by using what we have, which is our voice, because they've taken everything else from us, but the one thing that they will never take from us is our voice. And if you don't know, the most dangerous thing in the world, in my eyes, is a large group of passionate people who are angry. That's it. At the end of the day, that's what we are. We're a large group of very passionate people who are very pissed off right now. And that's the most dangerous thing in the world. The only big changes in the world that have ever happened are because large groups of people have came together because they were passionate about something. So that's what we're trying to do in the community right now, and that's why I'm asking your help. Now, I know I am not a big channel by any means. I don't get many views, but I said it in my last video and I'll say it again. Even if this reaches 1 or 2 people who don't know what's going on and who see this and now want to support us, that's all that matters to me. That's why I go out of my way to do this, right? I don't gain any benefit from this except maybe a little bit of help, and that's why I'm begging you and asking you for your help. That person who isn't a part of the scene who now wants to help us. We need all the help we can get right now. We're fighting a very uphill battle, but listen, this especially this part goes out to anybody who works at Nintendo. On the small chance that this ever reaches you, this goes out to you. We are a group of people who care very passionately about this game. We are a group of people who have been through so much because of that. We have been through so many downs, so many downs. Yes, we've had our ups too, but we've been through so much adversity, and we still fight every day tooth and nail for the game we love. And if you think you're gonna come in the way and stop us, you are out of your mind. Nintendo, you wanted a war. Well, now as the Smash community, I will tell you, we will bring you that war. I promise you that. Thank you.